The Bible says in 1 Samuel chapter number 30, verse number 6, "And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God." Now, if you'll read the story in 1 Samuel chapter 30, you'll find that in the town of Ziklag, which was enemy territory, David was staying there in that town at the time. David was on the run. He was a fugitive. He was driven from Jerusalem because, unfortunately, King Saul was hunting him down and trying to kill him. And so David and his men were now taking refuge in Philistine territory in a town called Ziklag. They left the town for a moment, and while in David's absence, another group of enemies known as the Amalekites, they rolled into town and burned the whole town down and took away David's family and the wives and children of all of his men, his soldiers. They were all taken away as captives with the intention of making slaves out of them. The Amalekites did. And so when David and his small army returned to the town of Ziklag and found the city burned down and discovered that their families had been taken away captive, everyone was greatly distressed, as you can imagine. Folks were so depressed and upset. They were so upset that they wanted to take their frustration out on David. And here is a moment in David's life when David is all alone. I mean, he's already been abandoned by King Saul. Saul hates his guts. Saul wants to kill him. So he was forced to have to flee the land that he loves to go dwell in enemy territory. And now his own army, the people that were closest to David, now they are talking about stoning David. Everyone has turned on David. David is alone. And so David, in this moment of great distress, he turns to the only one he has left, the only one he can turn to. He turns to the Lord. And the Bible says that David encouraged himself in the Lord. You know what that tells me? That tells me that when you are going through times of loneliness, when you feel like the whole world has turned against you, you could still go to God. And God will be enough. Because when David went to the Lord, the Bible says that he encouraged himself in the Lord. That means that David confided in the Lord, consulted with the Lord, and through his own personal relationship with God, when everyone else had turned their backs on David, David, through the Lord, was able to get all the strength, to obtain all the strength that he needed to overcome his distress, to overcome his loneliness, to overcome the feelings of discouragement and abandonment from all the people that had turned their backs on him. He was able to strengthen himself in the Lord so that he could get up and go forward and pursue the enemy. And if you'll read the rest of the story, once David encouraged himself in the Lord, he was able to go on, go forward, pursue the enemy, and defeat the enemy, and God gave David a great victory. That victory vindicated David in the eyes of everyone who had turned their backs on David, everyone that had questioned David and was against David. David was vindicated in their eyes, and the Bible says David was able to recuperate everything that the enemy had stolen from David, and then some. He walked away from that victory with even more than what was taken away from him, because that's how good our God is. And so when you're going through tough times in life, when you feel like everyone has turned their backs on you, let me explain something to you. The Lord is faithful. He'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. And if you'll confide in the Lord, you can encourage yourself. You'll find all the strength and all the encouragement in the Lord that you'll need to go on and experience victory no matter how bad it gets. God bless you.